This is a video on setting up a temperature sensor with the Holley Terminator X. Real quick, so the Holley Terminator X, unlike I think some of the higher end Holley ECUs, does not do a thermistor temperature input, which uses resistance values. It uses has a 0 to 5 volt input. And I had a sensor which was a 0 to 5 volt input. Turns out it really wasn't working well lately once I looked at the logs, so I got rid of it and got a temperature sensor from Low Dollar Motorsports. I'll put a link to it in the description. But because it uses resistance, you have to do something called a pull-up circuit, or pull-up resistor to make it work. And I was a little unsure of how this would work, but I actually did get it working this afternoon. So I wanted to go over how I got it to work, the actual wiring, and show you that it does work. Another video out there goes over this as well, but the video is a little bad when it comes to how you make the wiring connections. It's really blurry, and you don't want to make the wrong connection, I guess, and kill your ECU. So I'll try to do a better job here of showing how this goes together. So this is a AN adapter I have in an oil cooler line. So I removed it from the car. It's got this I think it's 1/8 inch NPT. I'll link the sensor in the description as well. And you can get these adapters from Improved Touring, which I'll also link to tap into your oil cooler line or whatever you got. And I would also, so this is the sensor in silver, and also sell a Bosch connector, the pins, and this nice boot, which I also got. It was a little bit extra. Definitely worth it if you're trying to make a good watertight connection. My connection is in the wheel well of the car, so it's got a remote cooler, and then the adapter kind of goes, you know, in between these two connections here. So it's subject to water and dirt and all, so definitely get that boot. So the sensor is a 2-wire sensor because it's meant for resistance value. So you've got 2 wires. Doesn't really matter which way you connect them, I don't think. I made one black and one white. The black is going to be ground. The white ends up being the signal wire. And so your black goes to the ground, wherever that is. And I had this 3 wires set up. Red was 5 volt, green was ground, yellow was the signal going back to the ECU. So you've got 2 wires going to 3. So what do? Ground wire, we'll just move that doesn't change. But where the little bit of complexity comes in is, you know, your red is your 5 volt positive from whatever 5 volt source you've got. I don't know where I got mine from. I actually forget where I pulled that from. I think the Holley harness might have a spare 5 volt wire. I really don't remember. It's been a couple years. So you take your 5 volt positive and you add this resistor, which I got 10 of these off Amazon for nothing, $8. I'll link to that as well. The 5 volt to the resistor teed into the signal wire. So like I said, the white wire comes from the sensor. The 5 volt does something to the circuit and makes the resistance value readable by the ECU. I don't know, I'm not an electrical engineer, so I can't really explain that, but it does work. So you split it off, 5 volt positive, signal wire to the ECU. They just tee in, but make sure the resistor is in this location. It's before it comes into the T, you have to add that resistor from the 5 volt. Hope that's clear. And I'll tighten up these connections when I'm all done here. I just got done testing. So quick demo. I've got this in some hot water. It's a little bit cooler now, but if I put a infrared meter on it, I've got 157. Come over to the data log. And of course my dashboard closed. Gotta reconnect the ECU. I've got, one of the USB cables. Come over to my data log. And there it is. So there's my oil temp hovering around 157, 158. So it works pretty well. It did take some trial and error. This may not apply to you, but when you go into your inputs and you've got your input created for oil temp or whatever it is, maybe it's trans temp, down here is the calibration table. What I ended up doing, this is a 0 to 5 volt sensor. 0 is like -60 Fahrenheit. I don't need that level of detail. So I just simplified, maybe get a little better resolution if you do this, but I've got the low is 30 Fahrenheit and the high is 300, which is the upper limit of the sensor. And it's a linear sensor. My low value is 2.2 volts, and that maps to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And 3.5, which maps to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you would think, why doesn't it go to 5 volts? I don't know. I don't know how these things really work, but very often not mentioned in videos and online forums. They don't go into this level of detail. You just have to figure it out for yourself. So, you map the temperature values you want, in a linear way. So if you don't know how to do that, you put in some value, put 30 here, 300 here, and you kind of scroll across. I can't go all the way. I'm only doing this with one hand. It's kind of hard. And then you tap on it and say fill row values, and it will fill all the values evenly all the way across. Same with the voltage values, and you should get a straight line. Again, however you want to set it up, but the temperatures you want to use is up to you. But I would recommend doing it that way, testing it with some ice water and some boiling water, just to make sure your values are getting you pretty close to what you see in the data log, and you should be good. So I've got 151, 52 there. Go back to my sensor. And I'm at 148, depending on where I put the red dot. So within a few degrees, close enough. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Hopefully this was helpful and clarified the wiring and how to set it up for anybody who's interested. Thanks.